Hello guys, it is Patrick here, Eggnoc Poker, doing a new video today. Going to be carrying on with our micro stakes mini series. We're going to be focusing on this primarily this week with some streaming, and then hopefully looking into the next week, maybe two absolute tops. We're going to be doing a little bit of a break from our mini series and focusing a bit more on some mixed stakes, going from 10NL up to 100, mixing and matching, similar to what we did previously a couple of months ago. So we're going to be sort of flipping around what we're going to be doing, and then we'll come back to the micro stakes mini series in about a month's time afterwards. So currently where we are at in our mini series then. So depending on if you're completely new to this or if you have seen us before and been keeping up with our 12 to 15 episodes or so, I can't remember off the top of my head how many episodes we're in. We're at least 10 to 12 in, I would say. So we're about 20,000 hands in. It's been rocky for the most of it. We're currently still at 2NL. I want to get to probably about another $20 in profit before we move up to 5NL, so not too long. 20,500 hands in, 437 people have 100, 734 adjusted all in per 100. So our win rate's dropped a little bit, unfortunately, as you can see from this horrendous drop here over the last sort of 6,000 hands or so. We really haven't been doing very well. We're getting a lot of kings in against aces, queens in against kings, set over set, bad beats, bad calls, you name it, the whole shebang. For better or for worse, we have been in the thick of it, but we are looking on the ascent to come back, which is good. A couple of little adjustments I've made and a few little bits and bobs I'm going to change in my gameplay, but I think overall, apart from some severe run bad and a couple of little minor errors and a few tweaks, I think we can get ourselves hopefully back up to 10 to 15 people have 100 in the next 20,000 hands. I would hope, but we will see how we go first, obviously. So that's where we are currently, and we're going to be jumping straight back into the action. So if I get these tables loaded up. So what I'm trying to do, the bankroll's currently around $80-ish. We haven't really had a lot of rate back. We've had a couple of really tiny leaderboard rewards, but nothing too crazy. I want to get to about $100, and then we start, so it's another $20 profit, and then we'll start getting into the 5NL street, so we'll be starting to do some slightly bigger stakes. Let me just get these tables sorted very briefly. I do apologise. That's Hallie 1, and I would like Hallie 2 for the side table, please. Thank you very much. Yeah, so hopefully we're going to be making some more money and moving up in stakes, which is looking very hopeful and shouldn't take us too long, hopefully. So that would be good. Also, just a quick shout out as always as we get started. Thank you so much to everyone who's been liking, subscribing, commenting and showing support, joining the Discord, etc. If you like the content, please leave a comment, and please obviously subscribe to the YouTube and join the Discord. All the usual jargon out of the way. So again, for anyone who's not sure what we're doing, this isn't really a challenge, it's just more of a case of I did a lot of content recently for YouTube with all the micro stakes shenanigans on how to beat them and what we can do to try and counter the rake and try and counter the sort of types of players that we might encounter in these games. And yeah, so with those videos I decided to make my own sort of mini series, as it were. There wasn't really a specific challenge, wasn't really a specific amount of money I was trying to make. I just thought I would say, you know, fuck it, let's do our own content and see how we go. I've also started doing some Twitch streaming, which is something a bit fresh as well and interesting. So that's always fun. So do check that out in the link below as well in the description. So I'm going to be streaming upwards of around 20-ish hours a week, maybe slightly more, maybe slightly less, but I think a minimum of 20 to start the first couple of weeks. So easy check back on table 1. I suppose you could sometimes bet in theory, but I'm just going to be checking against the very tight, very passive sort of player pools, checking and just hoping to win on Showdown, and not really much else to say, really. So again, as always, we do, I mean, in terms of strategy, for anyone, we haven't posted in about 10 days, so probably it's been a while since I've made any content. So again, just for anyone who's not sure what we're doing, basically, I'm not really saying I'm going to follow like a super GTO approach. I'm not really saying I'm going to follow like a really death exploitative. I'm just going to be trying to find a hybrid between the two based on the populations we play, because these are like 2NL, 5NL, etc. The game's very tight passive, so I'm just thinking what to do here with table 2. I mean, we get like less than min 3-bit by recreational. This is usually an extremely strong hand and a cold call versus an 11-4-0. Even with this ridiculous price in position, I just think we're just absolutely dominated a lot of the time, and I think there's a really, really massive amount of reverse implied odds there. Maybe heads up I would defend. I think multi-way I'd prefer to just fold that. Maybe I could call a hand like King Queen, but I think King Jack is a little bit loose to just overall defend. I've decided to revert also back to a min open rather than a 2.5x open. Generally I'd rather open a little bit tighter and a bit larger with the rake, but I feel like I'm actually getting 3-bet more than I thought I was at these stakes. So I thought I'm going to revert back to a min open and try and I feel like when I min open they 3-bet smaller, considerably smaller, and we're able to sort of play post flop better. So I'm going to try that and see how we go with it. And see how it works. So this is a bit of a trial and error again. Overall, we would usually sort of open a little bit larger than min, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, we get a walk there with aces. It's a little bit sad. But we've got ace queen top here. Top pair and a good kicker on table 1. Multi-way, if we get raised on the flop, again, just considering how hard I'm finding exploitative situations, I might consider just folding directly, potentially. Table 2, we have a very, very close spot because we've got a 25-12-2 with an 82% fold to 3-bet. This is going to be an extremely tight player. I think with 36 big blinds, 9s is about on the cusp. I think if I had 8s and below, I'd be folding. And then if I had something like ace 10 and below, I'd be folding. I think 9s is just strong enough to call. I don't mind too much if they're going to have good hands. They usually will have good hands, but I think 9s is just about good enough. But as you can see, these very, very embarrassing type players usually just have very, very good hands. But I think Villain can have all other pocket pairs below 9s. I think he can have a decent amount of other hands that we can beat. He's going to have something like ace king, ace queen, ace jack, ace 10, king queen. You never know. And sometimes they're just going to be tilting fish as well. That might just jam like ace 6 offsuit or something. So it does happen. But if that villain had something like 50 big blinds, I would usually just fold. To be honest, I would literally just fold to that. Whereas I think like 35 is it's just a call, to be honest. So we don't like getting raised because usually we just literally beat. I wouldn't be surprised if this is only King Jack, but we're getting a good price to try and improve on the river as well. So easy peasy. So Villain could technically have, I suppose, a hand like Queen 10. He could potentially have like a flush draw. Flush comes in. I'm not going to be leading. I think I'm just going to be checking river and probably not paying. Yeah, I'm just going to be folding to shove. It's just really, really easy, especially when the flush comes in. At absolute best, I'm chopping, and then often I'm just usually dead to King Jack or a set of 5s that's slow played, and a backdoor flush did technically come in as well. It's quite tight, and it's not something I would recommend doing. There's a fold like that at a better stake, but this isn't. This is 2-L versus an extremely tight passive. Not to sound entitled, but a very weak passive, tight passive, weak population, where it's just going to show you very, very good hands on showdown. It's just very, very easy to just make those adjustments where you just have to sort of just say, look, I know I'm beat here most of the time, I'm not going to pay. Because it is so difficult to extract value. You just have to kind of make money from not folding, not doing it in, and then just basically playing good fundamental poker from there. Do I think Villain has me beat? Yes, most of the time, so I fold. So table 2, we decided to start with the check call, check the turn, face a small size. I could raise this as well, I don't really mind. I think raising and calling are both completely fine. Both are fine, I suppose. Checking river with a club in my hand, probably calling river depending on size. But again, as you'll probably see, I'm assuming this guy just had value. He had a small pocket bet, he had pocket 3s, so just kind of a mergey bet on the turn. I suppose that's okay. But what I'm saying is we're not expecting to really be shown like a ton of bluffs. So, excuse me. I think we can defend multi-way with the King 3 suited. Just about get away with it. Easy folds. King 7's a little bit close. I've rolled 94, so I've thrown it in. Flopping 2 pair, which is also nice. This guy is a bit of a crazy, bit of a loose, crazy player. Tempted to check back to allow this guy to implode, but again, we've just got a good hand, so I'm just going to bet for value most of the time. I suppose we could probably pick mixed sizings. Let's start with a slightly bigger bet. A couple of hands do improve. Queen Jack, King 9, 10 9, 7 9, 6 8. So there are a few concerns, also pocket 9s, I suppose. But there's still going to be an absolute massive amount of hands we can still get value from. So we can get value from King Queen, King Jack, etc., etc., Jack 10, and so on and so on. So let's just bet big. And then if we get raised, we'll probably just fold. Not very good river, because now all Queen X improves. King Jack's got there. This is going to be an easy check back or fold to lead. Then go the 7-5, and I think our 10-6 is a little bit too loose to open. We could potentially over-open if we know our value. I mean, like this small blind is a 13-4-2. If he was in the big blind, I would be basically pure opening this. However, against an unknown big blind, we're just going to fold. But again, you can absolutely have sort of ridiculously wide opens versus people who are folding like 80-90%, for example, to steal and don't really 3-bet you unless they have an extremely strong cap range. So you can absolutely sort of over attack and make lots of money from those. Again here, not to shout people out, but again, we've got a 2% PFR here. So again, we have to just be careful with some of these players in these populations. We're mainly looking to just win loads and loads of small to medium pots and just not really pay the nits. That's basically it. Easy open with ace 10. I'm going to be 3-betting this ace-8 suited. We could, I don't think this is strong enough to fold. We could, to call, sorry. We could potentially call here maybe a small amount of the time. Mostly 3-betting, I believe. Actually, to be fair, you probably could call here some of the time. I'm thinking like at a micro stakes level. You probably could get away with calling here in position, I suppose, as well. Although I still much prefer 3-betting. We'll fold out some better hands. We'll absolutely play better in position with initiative than we will by calling, I suppose. Our King Jack, we can do some 3-betting if we want to. Rolled low, so we're going to be defending as a call. I'm debating whether I want to lead this flop. I'm going to start this one with a check, I think. And versus villain's check back range is most likely ace highs on this board and potentially like king queen. So I think we always have to bluff, especially with a spade in our hand. So I'm just going to bet big and probably bet big again on river. I mean, to be fair, we could potentially bet small as well if we're just targeting ace high and we're going to double barrel. So both are okay, I suppose. So let's go half pot and then barrel like non-scary rivers. Like an ace, for example, or a queen. I think you'll find that a lot of people that check here, especially on a board that's sort of low and dry, they tend to just, they don't really protect their range at all. So it's just going to be very, very sort of nut ace high, like ace king, ace queen, ace jack, ace 10, etc. Ace 9, ace 8, whatever, and then like king queen potentially. But it's usually ace highs rather than sort of king highs. Again, that's quite a good exploit you can take from this video that you can use at micro stakes against most of the populations is that. So that's usually quite a good one. Opening our king 4 suited. The flop bottom pure. I believe we'd be betting small or checking. I think I want to mostly check at these stakes out of position. So we do mostly sort of check call against this sort of ridiculous size though. We're just gonna be folding. It's probably just a bluff to be fair, but it doesn't really matter. Like if villain wants to pot there, then we just have loads of protected traps. Like we have loads of flushes, we have loads of top pairs, we have loads of good hands, we have loads of under pairs, etc. With or without diamond that can defend. But I think our weaker pairs like bottom pairs and second pairs can sometimes fold versus a ridiculous size on the monotone. So this guy's 19-5-4, 90% fold to steal, 100% fold to 3-bet 6 out of 6. I'm just going to try and attack that. I'm going to be 3-betting almost pure against that type of opponent. Folding our king queen off. This cold call versus a 17-6. Jesus Christ, these people are tight. You got a 19-5-4 and a 17-6-0, and he's cold called. So he's got loads of strong cold pocket pairs and also like strong ace X, as does this guy who's folding almost 100% of the time. So we're just going to be checking back, trying to improve our hand. If either of them lead, we're just going to fold. Literally, it's that simple. I don't think either of them have enough bluffs. It's just really easy fold. If the guy's got a hand like king, queen, king, jack of spades, I don't care because I've still got the other guy behind. And I'm not going to be looking to sort of hero call or sort of make correct call downs versus that type of player. And he's just going to have a shitload of like ace king, ace queen, ace jack, ace 10, like nut flush draw, double over combos, and I'm not doing super well against all of that. Just want to try and take it down pre and not sort of dust post. Ace Queen suited. That's a good hand. We'll be playing this one. And I start with an open. Very, very tight players in the pool. 18, 15, 3, 23, 13. Very difficult to extract value in these pools. Very, very difficult. So when a person like this leads with a board this dry, he's actually got a 10 or a pocket pair. Like 100% of the time. So it's like, it's a question of like, do we want to call? It's tough because like his leads are going to improve. So say for example, I call and hit an ace, he can have ace 10. If I call with the queen, I've got really good backdoors with the straight and flush draw. That's why I'm going to float this, but I know I'm absolutely behind. I know I absolutely can't make the big blind fold. So when we don't improve, it's just an easy fold. If I didn't have the backdoor flush draw, I would probably just fold because it's got reverse implied. If I hit a bit an overpair to his 10, for example, then I'm not really going to ever get paid. I suppose I can make reverse implied with 2 pairs that he can beat. Like he can have ace 10, queen 10, as we said, and then if he has a 4, then we're never going to beat him either. So, and if he's got a hand like 6s or 7s, you know, it's like we don't know if he's going to check the turn. I don't really want to float and just keep life simple, isn't it? This guy's got absolutely no bluffs, so we just work around what we've been being shown. Here, 13-7. This population is extremely difficult to make money from because they're so tight. You have to almost completely rely on red line, which is difficult. We have a big blind here, 21, 2, 3, and 3 recreational, so I'm going to over-open the king deuce suited. This wouldn't be an open technically from the hijack, but it is what it is. I'm going to follow GTO in the fact that I will be checking this at high frequency most of the time. I just think a hand like king deuce would just benefit from betting rather than checking in these sort of populations, so I'm going to go ahead and bet. I pick up an open-ender. The 4 also improves villain's range, but again, he's not really supposed to have 3-4 a whole bunch, or 4-5. It does. I mean, population probably does get here with 6-7 and 4s, but again, we just have king high with a deuce. I just don't expect him to be doing a whole bunch of folding on this turn. Hearts improve. I mean, I'm going to bet because our hand just wants to bet. We can't really check call this. I'd rather bet than check call, but I mean, I'm probably just going to give up on a lot of rivers without improving. Maybe if we hit a king, or if like a queen comes, I might blast that. But I'm gonna check fold this now. I think. The question is, can we get this guy to fold a hand like pocket 6s or like 5-6, or like ace 4, or like pocket 8s? I guess the question is technically yes. So you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. Oh, I actually timed out and checked. Fuck, I was going to bluff. No, you son of a bitch. I promised you I was going to bluff this. And I timed out. That's really sad. I swear to God I was going to bluff that. I'm actually really sad that happened now. Oh well, it is what it is. That's actually really sad. Please don't think of me as a nit. I promise you I did time out. I promise. Another death net in the big blind. Easy 3-bet with our king queen. And we'll be defending deuces. Mostly checking. I was going to say, we're only really dodging an ace or a king most of the time. I mean, I'm not leading this river, obviously. It's just, we're just folding. All of a very tight, taggy opponent here. We don't open 4s all the time, but I rolled high so we can defend some of the time. It's not like we don't defend them, so fuck it. With the backdoor straight draw, I will be defending this one. Also, we're just ahead of like ace king, ace jack, king jack suited, whatever. Although we're not doing super well against the turn. So facing check, we don't. I mean, you could sometimes bet this potentially, but again, we're just beating a hand like ace king, king 10. So gonna check. Against this micro size, against population, I really just want to shove this, repping 8s and 9-10, because population just doesn't. I just know this guy's literally got a hand like maybe king queen or queen 10, because population don't protect their sizings. This is literally only thin value. I think this guy, if this guy made a straight or a set, he'd bet bigger. I think this guy's got king queen, and I think he's gonna fold. So I'm gonna jam. Good luck, us. I just think this is an unprotected cap sizing. I'm not saying this is a good bluff, because technically this is not really an amazing bluff, because I don't block anything, and I'm not, it's just like this guy's like against a good opponent, they will, at a different stake, they will just protect that size, and they'll just have like ace queen there, for example, or something like that. And they can also have 8s, they can have 9-10 as well, and so on and so on and so on and so on. But I just know that at 2-L, when someone bets tiny like that after snap checking turn, I know it's literally just a marginal queen. Like king queen probably, or like ace jack king queen, something like that. Sorry, defending king queen suited. I believe you could 3-bet that as well. Actually no, I think you're supposed to actually no. I think that's almost always a call, a just call. Well, we avenged our honor with that bluff after timing out and not being able to bluff our king 4. Oh sorry, king deuce or whatever it was. That was quite embarrassing. We could find some check raises with the king 8 suited, so let's go ahead and find it. Ace is not a particularly good card. Villain's range is going to improve. So villain's going to have hands like aces, ace king of clubs, ace queen of clubs, I suppose. He's going to also have ace jack. He's also going to have like ace 4 suited, ace 2 suited. Debating whether I want to double check raise. Probably not, to be honest. I'm probably going to check call, check fold, depending on size. Against large, probably going to fold, I think, against population. Because I think the thing is you could potentially check jam here. Oh, no, sorry, it's way too big of an SPR to check jam. That would be a huge error to do that. We do block ace king, I suppose. If this is a bit different, like, we don't even have the nut flush draw. We don't have, like, a hand that's going to play super well. I think at population, I really think just folding is better when villains when population's large sizes come into play. He bet, calls a check raise, and nukes a pretty heavy turn card. Like if he just has a jack, does he really bet 3/4 on that turn, for example? I'm trying to think of it more from an exploit spot. I don't like check calling out of position because I'm not drawn to the nut either. Like if he's just got like the nut flush draw and turn top pair or something like that, we're just fucked. Like, excuse my language. If he's got a smaller flush draw, fine, but it's like we've got king 8, you know. Imagine we check raise turn and he's just got all that value range. We just kind of put ourselves in a box. Opening up our 6s. Three calls. I suppose that's one of the potential problems with a slightly smaller open, is you will get more overall defends. That's why it's not great for the rake, but just the way the population tends to play, I actually think we get 3-bet a lot more. Like I'm trialing just having quite a wide aggressive opening strategy with a smaller open size, and it seems to be going a bit more smoothly, getting just loads of post-swap situations with wider SPRs. I don't know if that's better. I really don't know if that's better compared to like opening 2.5 to 3x with a tighter range, but I guess we'll find out in the long run, but we'll go with it. Suppose we could do some betting here on table 1 with the queen deuce. Let's just go ahead. And I think small betting always is just going to be the best way to go at micros. It's just we're not going to get check raised enough We don't need to be balanced. We don't need to be protected. We could probably just bet like for a small size consistently, and these sort of nits are going to fold unless they've got something good enough to defend with. Going to play for about another 5 minutes, and then we will be done. Queen 10, a little bit loose. We do have a 5-2 in the small blind. Unknown big blind. We've got 42-4. Kind of a passive. Well, no, I think he's just going to fold. Said 19-5, 14-9. Jesus Christ, his population gets tighter every single time I see it, I swear to God. I mean, it is 2-L, so you can't really blame people for playing that tight, but still it's a bit crazy. You've got 12-4-2 here. Folding on Jack 6. Last couple of hands here. You could potentially use the King 6 as an aggressive 3-bet on the button. This guy's a 38-29. It doesn't look like the kind of guy that's probably going to fold if we 3-bet. So, excuse me. So I'll probably just pitch that one. Against a tighter player, I would be 3-betting it more. Mark another nit. Still find it funny how these guys don't want to raise pre, but then they want to bet 100% of the time you check to them. Open the 9-10. Because it's got an 80% fold to steal. Hopefully that's going to be somewhat useful. I found that these limpers literally don't fold. 5x, 6x, 7x, they don't fold. So I'm just going to check here and just bet my sort of bigger value hands. Or raise my bigger value hands, sorry. In a double limp pot, I'm really hoping that we're going to get a lot of value out of this hand. I'm going to absolutely death blast this, looking to try and get this in as ASAP. Against all the pair and draws, the 2 pairs, etc, etc. No one's folding here. I don't think this guy's got any bet folds. We're going to absolutely nuke the turn, try and get called by 10-9, 7-8, 10-8, you name it. I'm not going to go small. I'm literally just going to pop the turn. Really hoping we get raised, really hoping he calls, etc, etc, etc. And then the worst river ever comes. Potentially, see how we play. So now's the question. I'm not so worried about backdoor hearts in a way that he led and I nuked and then he calls. But the problem is, like, if he just has a 9, I can get the lot from a recreational. There are a bunch of potential 2 pairs, so you can have some boats. Also, if you have a 7-8, gets counterfeited, so you probably won't call a shove with that. I'm debating whether to jam. I'm not checking back. I'm just debating whether to jam or bet like sort of maybe 60% against like ace-8 or 10-8 or like a pair. No, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go greedy against a recreational who just has a bunch of 9x. I just have to shove. I just have to shove. I think. Against like a reg, I mean, I can't even win for fuck's sake. I can still only chop. That's how shit I run at this stake. I think against like a reg or a nit, I wouldn't do that. But against like a recreational, I just know that he's not folding. Like if he has like ace-8 or 10-8, I don't think he folds. And if he has a 9, I get the lot 100% of the time. I know he doesn't have a straight. A backdoor flush is very rare. He obviously doesn't have sets. He can have some boats, but there's just not enough. There's just not enough, I don't think, compared to the amount of times he calls with a naked 9 or an 8 even.
I'm going to check this multi-way with 4 people. I'd probably bet if I had a diamond in my hand. I will bet this turn if it checks through though, and then bluff potentially rivers. Yeah, I'm going to bet this turn. So we're repping aces, queens, jacks, slow played king, 7s, 6s, 9s, 10s, and then obviously flush draws, etc. Whatever. I suppose it's irrelevant what we're representing compared to just how we're playing and being results orientated at these levels. We'll play till the next big blind, and then we will finish with such a ridiculously tight big blind. I'm just going to open the A6. We've also got quite a tight reg-ish, very tight player here on the button. Folding 5 deuce. I mean, this guy's got like less than 5% fold to 3-bet, 90% fold to 3-bet. He's not going to be aggressive. This guy's just playing 7% of hands. He finds the call. That's very scary. I suppose he's got all pairs and low connectors, so a bet isn't terrible. Checking back is also not terrible. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet the flop, check back the turn. That's probably what I'm going to do. I think we could probably do all sizings on this board. We just have all the nut end and, you know, whatnot. I'm going to check table 1 with a weak top pair. Bet small table 2. You're technically supposed to go big or check, I think, on table 2, but I don't really care. I don't see this guy folding like king, queen, and king, jack. And we're just going to bet really, really small and try and get called by 2 pair, I suppose. I think if we go big, this type of opponent never calls. So just going to try and get called by 2 pair. And we do. I think we need to start betting our 2 pair now, table 2. I think this is just going to get check a lot if we check. So let's start trying to put money in against a worse ace or like king, jack. And then same thing. I'm just going to go really, really big. I'm not going to check raise. Sizing, I mean, we checked the flop, bet the turn. You could have even overbet the turn. Let's just go big. It's probably overbet or big in general against like ace 10, king jack, something like that. We absolutely have bluffs here, but again, it's like we're just relying on this guy calling. I think when we check the flop, bet the turn, I think we can still get the river call for a huge size. We're only beat by technically like ace 9 now, so yeah, we'll take it. Also, I found that after checking the flop and betting big turn the river, I get called a lot at these stakes because these people they're not used to people checking having delayed c bets with value, so it's actually quite good in my opinion. Rather than betting 3 times, it's actually good to have at least one street as a deceptive check. And we can bet table 1, but we've got almost nut showdown, so probably going to be checking here quite a decent amount of the time versus the big blind. Pick up a good shot to go with our king jack high. So this is a really tilting size because it's a fish. I was going to say we're never really folding, but against like a direct pot size, we probably can call. But recreationals, especially short stack recs who bet this kind of size, tend to be very value heavy. So I would rather be calling there with at least a pair or at least a stronger draw. So our sort of decision of saying, look, we've got a gut shot, we could easily be ahead with our king high, we have to call. That goes out the window compared to a recreational who doesn't have enough bluffs in the first place, and then for a large size, like, it's just not worth it. It's just really, really not worth it, unfortunately. So let's have a look. Results, I think we're down less than $1, something silly. Down 94 cents. There you go. Here's what it is. I think we played pretty decently. We got the only one mistake we made was with our A6, where we timed out like a complete noob and we would have won the pot. So we could have potentially saved something like 40 cents or something silly. Graphs, please. Refresh. There we go. That's where we are. So not really too much change on this one. I will be streaming. What's tomorrow? I can't remember off the top of my head. I know next week, probably Monday or Tuesday. Either Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll probably be streaming at some point. So keep an eye out for that. Details are in the link below. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, join the Discord, all the normal jargon. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.